Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Zero Experiment. I'm very excited to have you all here. Thank you all for joining us for such a wonderful cause. I'm super excited to have our artist, Olivia Reckert, today. She is absolutely amazing. She spent a lot of time in New York. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself a little bit later. But I want to open up this show with a performance by Gravity, Queen of Love and Hope, who is an amazing artist. She's a singer-songwriter. Gravity, I'm going to let you take it away from here. If you want to say a few words about yourself, you can too.
Thank you. My name is Gravity, Queen of Love and Hope. I did the speaker change. Sorry, let me fix this real quick. Oh, bloody hell. Fix this. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you great.
Okay.
Very clear.
My name is Gravity, Queen of Love and Hope. I am a performing artist here in Brooklyn, New York, and I do singing, songwriting. I do mermaiding, obviously. When it gets warm, I go to the Alice in Wonderland statue. I would read Alice in Wonderland for everybody, but can't really do that right now, so I've been doing some readings online. I'm an artist. I painted this lovely thing behind me. I do quite a lot of things. And my mother is actually a breast cancer survivor, so I am happy to be a part of this fundraiser and help people, you know, who need it. So I'm gonna start off with a little Jason Mraz on the ukulele. Again, my name is Gravity, Queen of Love and Hope. Well, you done me and you bet I felt it. I tried to be cool, but you're so hot that I melted. I fell right through the cracks. Now I'm trying to get back. Before the cool done run out, I'll be giving it my bestest. And nothing's gonna stop me but divine intervention. I reckon it's again my turn to win some or learn some, but I won't hesitate no more, no more. This is our fate. I'm yours. Hey, so open up your mind and see like me. Open up your plans and damn, you're free. Look into your heart and you'll find love, 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 love. Listen to the music of the moment, people dance and sing. We are just one big family, and it's our God-forsaken right to be love, 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 love. So I won't hesitate no more, no more. This is our fate. I'm sure there's no need to complicate. Our time is short. This is our fate. I'm your do 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 do. Do you do 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 do? Do you wanna come on? Scooch on over closer, dear, and I will nibble your ear. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Hey, I've been spending way too long checking my tongue in the mirror and bending over backwards just to try to see it clearer, but my breath fogged up the glass. And so I drew a new face and I laughed. I guess what I've been saying is there ain't no better reason to rid yourself of vanities and just go with the seasons. It's what we aim to do. Our name is our virtue, but I won't hesitate no more, no more. This is our fate. so free. Look into your heart and you'll find that the sky is yours. So please don't, please don't, please don't. There's no need to complicate, 'cause our time is short. This is our fate. I'm yours. Thank you.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Thank you very much.
Very high energy. I saw people dancing along. So.
I like when people dance. I hope they were singing too.
How can they find you on Instagram?
On Instagram, it is at Queen of Love and Hope, all one word. Queen of Love and Hope. And if you look it up on Facebook, there's Queen of Love and Hope on there too, and queenofloveandhope.com.
Great. Thank you so much. Gravity will be doing another song at the end, so do stick around to hear. It'll be one of her originals, so that's going to be very fun, and I look forward to it. So I'm going to swing it over to Olivia. Let me just unmute you. Hey, how are you?
Hello, how are you, Marina? I'm good, thank you.
It's great to have you.
Thank you, thank you. I'm currently in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Right when the lockdown started happening in New York, I came down here, and I've been here ever since. So I'm from Memphis, so it's kind of nice to be back. But I do miss New York, so it's this is where I've been creating the past few months, and it's been nice. It's been a nice change of pace. So yes, let me see.
So you spent 8 years in New York.
I did. I spent 8 years in New York, and my dad's from New York, and I love New York. I've done a lot in New York, and I call New York my home because I was actually born in New York, and then I moved back. I went to school at FIT, and I work for a designer, Christian Benner. I do the artwork for his custom leather jackets. So I'll be back soon, but it's nice to get away. Well, I was fortunate enough that I was able to do that because everything. I was living in Brooklyn, but I've been in Long Island City, and I really miss it. But it is nice to see some trees and be surrounded by some nature.
Absolutely, especially in these times. The city is kind of abandoned right now, so it's nice to get out of it once in a while.
It is. It's hard to see because I feel a little guilty not being there. But a lot of my friends and family are still there, and they're dealing with everything. So, but it is. I will return eventually. So but it's been nice coming back to Tennessee for a little bit, and I've always found that in the summer I like to go. Just like rejuvenate, see some nature, and see some being in the city.
Do you find that your work changes depending on location? Like, do you do more industrial in New York and a little more like nature-based?
I do more nature-based. I think when I go visit places, I do a lot more colors. I usually, when I'm in New York, I'll focus on a couple different colors. But when I travel, like I go to St. Thomas a lot, and I do a lot of vibrant colors there. And I guess being outside, when you do a lot of artwork, so I produce a lot of paintings at once, or over a course of a few weeks or a few months. I like to kind of see them all together, and that's when I do a lot of black and whites when I'm in New York. But and also in the Hamptons too, I would do lots of colors because I paint outside mostly, and you get to see the sky and the way just the lighting with the sky kind of plays off of the paint.
So
and the
let's talk about your art a little bit. You do a lot of female figures in your artwork.
Yes, I've always done a lot of female figures. I went to FIT and I would take a lot of figure drawing classes because I guess with I didn't specialize in clothing, but they have just a really large figurative work program because of the need to draw the body and understand clothing on the body and how clothing moves and garments and things move on the body. So I fell in love with figure drawing, and then I would take classes outside of FIT. I would just go to Spring Studio in New York, and I would just drop in because they had figure drawing classes, and I kind of became like obsessed with it in a way. I learn from books and like proportions and all that. I just thought that live drawing was the best way to learn. So I would just draw and draw and draw, and I really just developed a love for it and just the form of humans, and especially females, because I feel like they're more, I feel like the forms are, with the curves, they're just more proportionate. They're not as boxy and hard and rigid as men's bodies are, which it's just my preference. So I'm more of a painter. I love to paint, and painting smooth curves I've always preferred over more angular forms. So that's where I got really inspired, is from FIT, and then I did a whole series on female breasts because I wanted to celebrate women, and I had come across a lot of women that were going either through breast cancer, or also they were just, their moms had been going through breast cancer. And so a few years ago, I had a van that I painted, and I made t-shirts, and I had a whole series of boobie artwork that celebrated the women's figure, and I did pop-ups at Surf Lodge and all in the Hamptons. So I did a lot of different gallery shows and pop-ups out there. So that was kind of like the year of the boob. It was a lot of fun. I got to meet some amazing women. I got to meet their kids, and it was just really great. I remember some cool things, like I remember this one mom who she had been a breast cancer survivor, and she had me, I guess, teach her daughter art, and it was just fun to teach these little girls. And we would paint, and they would be in the boob van, and it was just kind of like a fun female expression. It wasn't such a it wasn't like it wasn't like there wasn't a stigma about it. It was just female like empowerment. And the little girls, they made this little like business they painted rocks, and they called it like Let's Rock. So that was a fun thing that came out of that. So yeah, that was definitely a highlight of the whole female figure. And I still do a lot of female figures. I've expanded and just kind of looked into seeing, like, who have I guess challenged myself to do different figures too. So it's kind of one of the things that I've always painted and always drawn. So
awesome.
Yes.
So what is your technique? Tell us a little bit about that. Are you paint on canvas? Obviously, do you use acrylic, oil?
I love to paint. Painting is my favorite thing to do. I like drawing, but it's all charcoal. If I draw, it's like the under drawing. But mostly I paint with, I usually do the base in like an enamel or acrylics or an oil paint. I love oils. I didn't really, I kind of got into oils a couple of years ago, and then I love the richness of the oils. So they've always made me just appreciate just painting even more, because you can kind of with a palette knife. So I do a lot of palette knife work with the textures, as you'll see through some of my paintings. They have a lot of textural elements, and just so there's different types of things you can do with oil. So that's my favorite medium so far, like I guess right now that I've been doing. But I also love ink. I like the simplicity of ink, just black ink. I think there's something that's very can you see me okay? Like, is there like a shadow or something? Just
No, you look great. We can see you.
okay. I'm just making sure there's like a sun. Okay, but yes. So I like ink. I think ink is anything with a pen or with a brush. I'm not so much into pens and pushing down, because I paint for like hours, and if I'm drawing for hours, it hurts my hand. I don't know, it just kind of, my hand gets stiff and the lines get kind of stiff. So I've always preferred painting, so it's the more just loose strokes, and I love doing lots of lines. I'm not so much a straight line kind of person. I'm more of lots of lines. But another thing is, since COVID, I had to relocate. I've also loved using more sturdy materials. So painting on like wood, birch wood, and just different types of wood. It's easier to move and ship the art. It just protects the art better. So that's been kind of interesting, just changing mediums to kind of fit what's going on now. And I've had to move a few times and just everything. I feel like a lot of people have kind of been displaced, and just so I have turned to more sturdy materials because canvas is great, but sometimes you just have to be a bit more delicate with it. So
how has COVID affected you? Do you find that you're being more productive now? Because as an artist, it's a really great time to almost kind of like express this time. It's basically history. So have you done anything directly related to what's going on?
I have. I feel like I've done a few different series of things to make, I guess, to mark this period of time. I always find that like whenever I'm moving or whenever I go to a new place, I kind of can get really comfortable really quickly if I just see my art on the walls. So I started painting a lot of different things, and I guess some things that it's been hard because it's the very beginning of this whole COVID. It just between just watching the news and just seeing just it was very scary. It was a very scary time with a large death toll. There was a lot of negativity coming towards the news, and it was just very sad. So I kind of and it was kind of hard to be motivated or be excited about things. So I started just painting. I always kind of revert to flowers because they kind of have this cycle of like growth, and it's something that's it does kind of like, flowers make me feel very home, and it makes me just, I like to get flowers and kind of, whether I get them, put them in a vase and watch them, just watching their natural cycle of life and death. It's just kind of that process and just the beauty of them, and then their time to go kind of just grounds me in a way. So
so do you have any advice for young artists looking to get into the industry?
I would say you have to just paint. You have to paint a lot. You have to do a lot of artwork, and some people are not gonna like what you do. Or you just kind of have to just go for it. Any art that I've done, I had like this van. I just painted this van, and I just went to the Hamptons, and I'm like, here I am. And eventually, like, it worked, and I had a great summer, and I got to share a lot of art, and it was great. And the same thing with working with the designer I work with now. His name's Christian Benner, and I just showed up to his studio and storefront, and the first time he's like, oh, thanks, cool. And then I showed up again. You just have to be persistent, I think. And I just bothered him until he gave me a job painting. So yeah, I kept painting like skulls and things that I thought I liked, and he's like, that's pretty cool. And then he let me work there. So I guess just being persistent, and also just paint what you like, and paint or draw or do whatever, but you have to kind of show people, and you have to kind of live with it. And I always put my artwork up so I can see it, and I can see what I need to improve on, and see what I need to, how I progress. I always would do that everywhere I lived. I always would put my work up on the wall, and and kind of living with it, and just getting used to like having other eyes on it. That's helped me. So now I like it. I just enjoy my own stuff. So
sometimes we're our worst own critics.
Pardon me?
Sometimes we're our worst own critics. So
yes, exactly.
A second opinion. Well, thank you so much for taking us a little bit through your thought process. We're going to do a studio tour with Olivia a little bit later, but now I want to open it up to the charity. So I am very pleased to say that we're supporting the Peace Agenda. They're amazing. They're all about fighting breast cancer and breast cancer research. So we actually have Nicole, who is the president of the charity, on the line, and she's going to say a few words and tell you a little bit more about it. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I am Nicole Seagriff, and it's always hard this time of year to think back and imagine, but almost exactly 8 years ago, I became a breast cancer patient. And I now have the pleasure of being a breast cancer survivor. And I really credit that largely to advances that are from breast cancer research. And I'm well aware that I am just one of over 250,000 breast cancer survivors just in the United States. And we know that about 11% of cases of breast cancer occur in women under the age of 45. So we know it impacts women of all different age groups. So I've been a part of the Pink Agenda pretty much since my diagnosis. And for those of you who don't know us, the Pink Agenda is a 501c3 that's committed to raising money and awareness for breast cancer research, particularly among young professionals. And so really our intention is to engage today's generation to find tomorrow's cure for breast cancer. And we go about that through funding groundbreaking breast cancer research and partnering with programs like Juliana Rancic's FabUwish, which grants wishes to young women going through breast cancer treatments. And really the ultimate wish is to find a cure for breast cancer. And so the way that we hope to accomplish finding that cure and achieving that wish is through our researchers. And so we currently fund 5 researchers. Our lead researcher is Dr. Ann Partridge, who is up at Dana-Farber. And she's really the guru for young women with breast cancer. She's led a lot of groundbreaking research, and she also has a really large clinical practice and a lot of different trials going on. We also have researchers that focus on pregnancy and breast cancer, medication side effects, and the impact of those side effects on treatment and if women stay on treatment or not. And we also have 2 researchers focusing on metastatic disease, because we know it's when breast cancer spreads to other parts of the body that people die. And so we have a really concerted effort working on trying to stop cancer that's spread to other parts of the body. And so we know our topic can be heavy and sad. And so at TPA, our mission is really to make philanthropy fun. And so we strive to raise money, raise awareness, and of course, raise some hell through a variety of different ways. And we do that through our annual gala, and we had the pleasure of Liv coming to that and donating her time to provide glitter art to our guests, who all looked fabulous and beautiful. And she donated some beautiful original artwork for our silent auction item. So again, thank you, Liv, for that. We at the Pink Agenda also have a marathon team, and we host a variety of different social and educational events throughout the year, mostly in our home base of New York City, but as well in our chapter cities, which are Boston, Washington, D.C., and Atlanta. And so when we heard about this event with Liv and the Zero Experiment, and that it was showcasing Liv's work, we thought it sounded really in line with our goal of making philanthropy fun. And we are really grateful, and we're excited to raise some virtual hell with you guys tonight. And a really big thank you to Liv for being such a big breast cancer champion and warrior. And thank you to all for having us. I'm happy to answer any questions or share any information, but a big thank you to all.
Thank you so much. What you guys are doing is so important, and very excited to be able to support your mission as well. So I just want to let you know that 20% of everything that sells does go towards the Pink Agenda. So, you know, we're going to send you all a pricing list afterwards, so keep an eye out. And thank you very much, Nicole.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to swing it back over to you, Olivia. So do you want to do the studio tour, show everyone your pieces, and you can like walk people through the stories behind them?
Sure. Okay. I'm going to show you now. Hello. Okay, so here's a few of my first earlier works that I did early on in this quarantine. I started doing some tulips. I went through flowers, or the face flowers, because I wanted things to look more homey and look a bit more just fun and a bit just to show life, because the news is very heavy the first couple weeks and a couple months. So I really like to just do the movement of the flowers. And as you can see here, I did also some watercolors with the floral tulips. Tulips I love because they're very happy flowers. They're very soft and pretty, and I wanted to just show also the different types of, these are the same tulips, just different periods of time when they bloomed, blossomed. And these are also some other floral studies. I collected, I've become a little gardener, I guess. I collected plants, quarantine, and kept them alive. So I've done some different studies on these. These are on wood and oil on wood. I like some paints and darker tones, but all these are just, you know, some nice pieces to me because they make any place, I feel like if your home has some art in it, it just makes it feel more grounded and feel more at home. So that's where I do these. I love just black and white checkerboard. And I do a lot of outlets. I paint outlets and things. A lot of them are dog portraits of outlets, but this one, it just kind of grounds it, makes it more domestic. So while everyone's at home, this is the domestic floral piece. So I did some other works. So just some random little things that you take for granted in your kitchen. I did some tea kettles, which I love. Made a lot of tea and just, you know, getting into a new routine again. I had some fun earlier on with the first days of the quarantine doing macaroni, so these little macaroni eyebrows. Since a kid, I would do macaroni art, so I just thought it would be fun. Also, I didn't have all my art supplies at the beginning, so do what you gotta do. Spray painted some macaroni noodles. Here's some more paintings, another watercolor with acrylic. It's a bunch of masks. I wanted to remember this period because I don't know if, I mean, it just overnight everybody started wearing a mask. So I just wanted something because I love to do eyes. I feel like eyes are very telling, tells the stories. That's why I also focus on eyes. So yeah, so I did these mask pieces. And over here, I have these different floral pieces that I just did that had, these are really, these floral pieces were in early spring, so I really enjoyed doing these, watching, my form of escape. I would wake up and I would read the news and I'd read all the things going on in New York and I'd read all the things going on everywhere. And just kind of my way of escaping life and kind of reconnecting to just basics was just picking something alive and painting it. So that's why I painted these. I focused on a few different things. I also did this. I like this one too because I was painting skulls for Christian Leonard. We do like rock and roll jackets. So I put skulls on here because I was painting all these. I like to be all like girly, but like kind of like a little bit of edge to things. So I put these skulls on here, a little rock and roll into this painting, just because I like, you know, the frilly and the floral, but just to mix it up. I like putting just like a tint of darkness. So you know, it kind of goes with what's going on in the world. Everything's been, as things are getting better, there's always like a slight, COVID's still around, so I find that fun. But also some of these during the during Black Lives Matter, all these different protests coming up, I had to take a look and see what I was doing to, you know, how was I helping the situation? How was I, you know, part of the problem? And I realized I do a lot of female work and I do a lot of female figurative work, but I had not focused on women of color, and that's one thing where I wondered why. And so for a few days I like questioned and thought, and I even looked back at the old work I did, and you know, I feel like I needed to really go into making a bigger effort into just showcasing all different women of all different colors and celebrating them, because I do believe in celebrating all of the women's bodies and all the beauty. And I had done a few, but not enough. So it was actually really fun. I had a great time doing these. It's almost, I don't know, I really get into it. I just love picking the colors, and it was just, it was really cool. I wondered why, and I looked back through old art books, and you know, it is true that women of color aren't really represented in art textbooks, and I have a bunch, and I was going through, and it's the same old. So it was cool to, like, you know, reach out and get some advice and go into the art community and find out you know, other artists feeling this, and you know, I think I really had a good time. I really think that I'm going to continue this type of work. And, So this was something I really was kind of like creative. I was like, I don't know, I don't want to ruffle any feathers or like make someone just not, you know. But I think I did a pretty good job with this. So yes, so these are the eyes. This is where I do some art studio area. Some shoes, eyes, painting.
Is sorry to interrupt you. Is the dress that you're wearing yours? Did you paint that?
I did. I paint everything. As you can see, I will paint chairs. I paint too many things. I paint shoes. So yeah, I do leather jackets, but I also do like, I don't know. My self-expression is like shoes and fun stuff. I was never like, I'm outgoing, but I get kind of like, I don't know what to talk about. So if I have something like painted, people are like, oh, that's cool. And then it's like, oh, I painted. You know, it's just easy for me to, I get to talk about what I like. And so I don't know. I painted this, and I just like painting clothes. It's fun. I do a lot of vintage, and I get a lot of things that are already pre-loved because the environment is the fashion, going to FIT, I learned the fashion industry is such, there's so much waste that goes to the fashion industry. So for my part, I get a lot of used vintage stuff, and if there's a stain in it, I just paint over it, or you know, even if there isn't a stain, I just paint over it and refresh it and make it my own. So yes. Here's some other things. This is a painting, but it's like on the wall, so you can't take it off. It's a painting. It's a mural. But yeah, so then this little rock and roll room. It's fun. As you can see, I painted a few other things, but here is some of the art. So when I was in New York, I worked at this really cool place. It was just records everywhere, and it was all these cool guitars. And I missed it. So we'd have all these cool art of different, anyway, like Kurt Cobain and things like that. And so I really got a good rock and roll knowledge and just appreciation for rock, not only in the music sense, but also how it changed society. So I love doing different portraits. So these are just ink. This is Axl Rose. This is Heyday. I also love the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones, like I lived at the Memory Motel for a bit. My mom loves the Rolling Stones, so I've always had a very warm connection to them. This is Jim Morrison, Steven Tyler, and these are all done in ink. And that's Mick Jagger. And here's Hank Williams. I'm so lonesome. I could cry. I feel like a lot of people are going through that during COVID because, you know, it's kind of insane. You're very, you know, you're not around. I'm used to seeing a ton of people in the subway, just people all over. You might not talk to them, but, you know, so it's when in New York, it's crazy just to see no one out. And yeah, so that's the ode to the quietness of New York. And this is just fun. I love the Rolling Stones. This is one of my favorite pieces. This is Some Girls. I made this collage of the different Warhol.
What is the material on that? Is that on canvas?
That is on canvas, yes. These are the few that are on canvas. These are on canvas. There's a David Bowie that's on canvas, but this one's on canvas. I love this one. I think it's fun. It's kind of, this is just, to me, it's something that just represents just playfulness and just like the change. Like rock and roll is anything and everything. It's you know, they can put women's wigs and things on, and it's just, they're still rock stars. So I just love this piece because I just love how they were kind of ahead of their time. They didn't care if they, you know, were called whatever. They knew who they were, and they just went with it. And that's kind of my motto as an artist. Like, I know who I am, and that is me. So I love this piece. It's one of my favorites. And then, yes, then I have some pieces here. Again, with the Rolling Stones kind of This one's on wood. It's a nice sturdy piece. It's oil with enamel. It's a tongue. I do love this piece as well. And this is the David Bowie collage of different. I do like my collages are just with different. I do paintings at like different portions of, and then kind of like layer it on top with oil. So it's almost like a watercolor effect, but it's just layering different pieces. So it's not an actual collage. It's kind of like a painted collage, but it's kind of in that collage style. So then we have I painted this American flag. It's kind of cool just because it's, you know, just a very, it's not too, it's kind of like a very artistic American flag. Because after all, we are in America, and yeah, I just paint that because, I don't know, it's just to see how our world has been divided so heavily. We are all still together, and we're all, whether we like it or not, we're all still in this, figuring it all out. So, you know, we're all dealing with COVID. We're all dealing with very similar issues here. And also, just because I had driven from New York to Chattanooga, and it was interesting just to see all of the different towns, because I had been in New York for a long time, and you know, just seeing like an hour away, there's dairy farms and things. So it just kind of like, that was kind of my ode to that drive, that journey from New York to Tennessee, just seeing America, and it's all of it's just kind of just realizing that there's a lot of places that you take for granted. You can just go, and it's more than just one or two places. It's more. So let's go outside. Here's outside my disco deck. These I love. I just love skulls because they're kind of just, whenever like you're just angry or like, hey, there's been a lot of days when I've just been like, you know, you just hooped up, and you just want to, because I think skulls are fun, and it just, there's something like hard about them, but I kind of mix it with, you know, this like frou-frou little painted frame. And I have the paint.
Olivia, what is the significance of all the skulls in your work?
I like these skulls because, to me, I started doing skulls when I was like in high school. Like, I remember I was like in 9th grade. I did this like it was kind of like a fluke. It wasn't really. I did this. We had to do like a skull or a skeleton like drawing, and my body just looked terrible. So I just cut the head out, and I did this cool painting with a bunch of dogs with bones, and I just stuck the skull head on the in the painting, and it looked really cool. And then that was like my first skull piece, and I kind of was always drawn to that piece, and just looking at it all my life, it was kind of this size too. So my dad framed it. That was really cool. It kind of like set the precedent for other art, because it's florally, it's pretty, but there's just something a little off. And I guess it's kind of my skull, so it's just a little bit like, ooh, it's different. I always kind of found that about myself too. Like, you know, I like to do things. But I'm a little, you know, I like to do something a little off, and just my way of being. Like, I like to wear funky stuff, and there's just kind of like a raw energy about skulls. And also, skulls are just, everybody's got one. Everyone has one, and they're all relatively the same. So, you know, they're kind of, whether it's male or female skulls, it's just a human thing. It's like a very basic human part of us. So it's kind of almost like the human form, and it's like raw sense is just using that as like emotion. I felt something. I've always felt something very grounding. Skulls, and just
it's a juxtaposition, because you put skulls next to nature, and you know, people wouldn't think that those two would go together. So it's very interesting to see that work.
Thank you. I think it's It's also like for these, I like doing expressions with skulls because, you know, the skin could be anything on top. Who knows? It could be, you know, it could be a female, it could be a male. You don't know. But so I like doing just, we're all people, and you know, and so it doesn't really matter. And that's, I guess, seeing all these different, you know, just the injustice and all the different things going on in the world. And when it comes down to
very
all
relevant.
feeling, we're all kind of going through the same thing. So it really doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter if we all have to go through, wake up and deal with whether it's a pandemic or, you know, it's a hard time. And
Totally.
yeah, so that's why I kind of gravitated towards these.
Well, this is amazing work. I actually see a few people in the audience, they have questions for you. So
Yeah.
I'm going to open it up to a Q&A now. So all of you on the line, if you have a question, you can virtually raise your hand in Zoom. I'll unmute you and you can have a conversation with Olivia. You can ask
Wonderful.
questions or you can ask Hope. So just raise your hand, or if you don't know how to do that, send me a private message on chat and I'll unmute you that way too. So I see Greg actually has a question. Let me unmute him. Greg, are you there?
There we go. Did you just say if you don't know how to raise your hand, then write you a...
You'd be surprised. A lot of people don't. There's a little button on the bottom of the screen and you have to virtually raise it, but a lot of people don't know how to do that. So.
Okay. So I love your work, Olivia. This is awesome to see this. I would have never had a chance to see this otherwise.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's weird. My questions are sort of about what place did you work at in New York that was a rock and roll place? And did you paint your own house there? Is that like a family house?
Yeah, I did. I painted this. This is part of what I've done this COVID. Is that your question, or is there anything else?
Yeah, that's all my questions for now, because that's so intriguing to me that it's just amazing. I was like, wow, I want to be there. I want to get out of New York.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I worked with this designer. His name is Christian Benner. He has a really cool shop. He does leather jackets at the Seaport District in New York, and I was there for a while, and I would do the art on the jackets, and we'd work together. It was a lot of fun. He had an enormous record collection, and he's a great artist as well. And we just it just gave me a new appreciation helicopter for art and all of that. Just art, just like the history of rock and roll and how it affects how music also just has a significant impact in I guess the changes in it just kind of also, it's similar into art. It has certain songs go with movements and have a certain lasting effect, and they still continue because people listen to the same songs years later, and that's what I think art and music have similar.
Sorry to cut you off. Do you have any pieces on the Beatles?
I do not. I do more pieces. So the rock and roll series it's ongoing. So I am gonna be doing a few on John Lennon and the Beatles as well. Freddie Mercury. I have a few others that I'm working on. So I will have more of those available. These are just a few that I have now, but that's gonna be like an ongoing process. Especially I'm gonna do a lot of Freddie Mercury and a lot of Queen and other artists, but yes, so those will be coming shortly. And then as for the house, yes, I painted. You can take a peek. Painted a lot of things. It's been fun. The deck.
Wow.
Yeah, I love to paint, and I've done a lot of mural work in New York City and in the Hamptons. I've done a few murals out there as well. So like big, large pieces are fun for me, and I enjoy doing those. And then yes, inside too, this interior as well, floors, and you can see. So yeah, with paint, you just need a little paint and you can kind of create these worlds. So that's where I've always thought was just, especially with people having to be inside so much. I do chairs to think a lot of things, but I thought, having something, making, why not make your home fun and exciting while you're going to be there for such long periods of time. So that's where that inspiration came from.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg, for your time. All right, I'm gonna mute you again. Does anyone else have any questions for Olivia? Okay, I see Farah. Let me unmute you. Farah, are you there?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, I see you have a question for Olivia.
Yeah, your work is so creative. It's so fluid and obviously inspired, by nature and movement. And I really like that you say you like to paint wood, right? Because it has me wondering if you're going to paint the trees next, which I think would be. But you were talking about painting fashion, which I thought was lovely, shoes and fabrics. Have you thought of moving on to jewelry or hats, or is that like too?
I love to paint. Jewelry is very cool, but it's more like structural. Like I do like jewelry. I've tried jewelry. The thing is, I'm more interested in larger things. I think people who are jewelry artists are very good at what they do, and I've tried it. I've done a little bit of it. I like to paint jewelry. My paintings of jewelry are fun, but actual jewelry, it's not. It's just too many little pieces, and I always end up making kind of scratches me anyway. But I don't know. I think I love painting clothes, and I love painting shoes and jackets. That's more of like my forte. It's big enough that I have places to paint, and I think there's so many talented jewelry artists out there that I kind of like. I might make it for myself, maybe, and even then I don't really wear it. But I don't really wear jewelry either, just because I'm always painting. I get paint on everything. That's usually why I end up painting something. I just paint on on my dress or something, and I just go with it. All right, I guess this is a new art project. So, and yes,
it doesn't get all.
Oh,
the paint doesn't get messy or all over your skin or your hair. Like, it's actually pretty manageable in that way.
It does. It's pretty manageable. I'm pretty manageable. I'm not usually dressed up. I usually have like these overalls with like stars on them that I wear that are fun. And I'll just like put my hair up and just kind of wear a bandana, and that's usually that. That's when I'm like working and like painting a bunch of stuff. But sometimes it really just depends. Oil paints, I'm relatively pretty good with them. At the beginning, I don't mind too. Like if something gets on my clothes, I'll just like work with it. I'll just paint around it or paint on top of it. So that's been nice. But yeah, I love painting on clothing. I've always have. And,
to like seal it in.
For sealing it in, there's different techniques you can use. It really just depends, I guess, on the material. I use textile paints or textile paint medium, so you can wash it and it doesn't come out. Yeah, you have to use fabric paint, but for shoes and things, you can use a sealer. There's different, like a UV sealer if you go outside a lot, wear your shoes out there. But for the most part, I guess it also just depends on the material you use. But it's fun to experiment and just use different things.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And what inspired for you to do most of your work? Or what inspiration? Where are you getting inspiration from?
I get inspiration. I just get inspiration from like things that I see around me. I get inspiration from different. I love doing eyes. I do a lot of eyes because I feel like eyes, like out of a face, the things that you can kind of tell the most emotion, the most story from are eyes. So to me, I focus on eyes, and also flowers. I feel like flowers are in the spring. I kind of gravitate towards flowers because it's a new birth. It's a new coming to be. It's kind of like a refresh. So I stick to I usually paint a lot of flowers, and it just kind of puts into perspective. I usually put notes of like where I am. So whether it's like a certain countertop with like an outlet or like just a certain patio or something, I can kind of gauge where I am in that moment. So when I look back, or it just kind of grounds the piece. But yeah, that's why I like to paint those types of things. But I love painting women. I love painting the female form because I think bodies are wonderful, and the way people move and the way people express themselves, and they're very powerful things. These bodies bring life to the world, and they just do so much. So, and I just don't think sometimes they get enough recognition. So I think, or it's just recognition in the wrong way. It's not just for beauty and just having just a body be beautiful and powerful. It's either too sexualized or too this or that. So it's kind of nice just bring it into its form of just beauty and just celebration. So that's where I like to paint them. And then the rock and roll, I love painting rock and roll because sometimes I just listen to Rolling Stones, and it kind of, something about just that kind of persona of just being like your inner, just letting it out there, not really caring about what people, don't overanalyze things, just kind of wake up and just seeing Mick Jagger like they're smoking a cigarette. Don't smoke, but he just kind of carefree because he's Mick Jagger. So it's just that kind of persona of just going on with your day, not getting too caught up with media, social media, or how your appearance or anything like that. Just be yourself, because you're pretty cool if you're just, so I guess that kind of just that rock and roll kind of, you're just like grungy, like raw energy. I've always thought that was just a cool thing to harness. So that's why I think that.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, Farah and Raz. Great questions.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
you. All right, guys. So we're coming to the end of the show. I want to say thank you so much, Olivia. You are absolutely amazing. Thank you for taking us into your world.
Thank you for coming in, and then we have lovely Amy. She's gonna be doing some nice closing performance.
Right, yeah, we have a closing. I just want to say thank you to the Pink Agenda, to Nicole and Courtney as well for being on this call and representing your organization and telling us a little bit more about what you do. And I'm gonna finish it off with Gravity, the Queen of Love and Hope, who's going to be singing an original song for us. Let me unmute her.
I got it. All right. Hello. That was beautiful artwork. That's really, really gorgeous, and you inspired me to paint a little more. So this next song this is the first song that I ever wrote at college, and I used to think it was incredibly lame, and then I learned how to play it on the ukulele, and it sounded a little better. Like, I wrote this song in about 2001 or 2002, but it still holds true to today. With whatever you're going to go through, I know it helped my mom out a lot. I know it helped my dad out with COVID. I mean, life, you got to just take things one day at a time. And so that's what the song is called. Deep thoughts about nothing in particular, and everything all wrapped up in one. Constant days you stare blankly at the world, trying hard to create rhyme and reason out of everything. But they always tell me, one day at a time, you just gotta breathe. One day at a time, you just gotta be. You're only human after all, and these things happen. One day at a time, take it one day at a time. Consciousness, or the way things really are, lately seem to one day at a time. Thank you very much for having me.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. It was great having you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, all of you. Thank you for logging on. Thank you for joining. It was great to see all of you, and I hope to see you next week as well. Our next artist is Eddie Bogart. So he's super cool. He does 3D art, and we'll be talking a little bit about him as well. Anything that sells tonight, 20% does go to breast cancer research, the Pink Agenda. So, keep an eye out for the email. I will be emailing everyone soon with the pricing list. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to my performer, and have a great evening, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.